On today's episode, The Path Monk Presents, I've got a very special guest with me joining today. Please welcome Courtney, who's the Director of Brand Strategy at Fort West. So for all of you who don't know, Fort West is a brand and marketing agency that helps companies realize meaningful growth through unbiased strategy and unmatched creativity. Courtney, thank you so much for joining me today. It's an honor to have you here on our show.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Super. Now, for all of our listeners out there, tell us, what does Fort West do overall?
Yeah, so you captured it pretty well. Fort West is a brand and demand generation agency, and our focus is really through unbiased strategy. We help organizations realize their right to win, right? And we're really unbiased, and what that means for us is that we're not always going to be the right fit, and that is, I think, really unique in the agency space because most shops have their list of services and they're going to try to sell that in kind of no matter what. And we don't do that. We have a value. It's called Friends Tell the Truth. And we believe that, whatever rock we uncover, whatever insights are garnered from our research and our discovery, sorry, my dog is going crazy, are, what we're going to bring to the client, because we want them to discover their right to win and so that they can kind of own their place in culture and realize that meaningful growth, as you said.
That's great. And I love how, with Fort West, you can tell, you guys are very transparent, where it's like, we're here to offer you what we can, and we're here to provide the best solutions, but ultimately we want you to succeed in, whether if that's to create a strategy or how you want to grow. So I think that's awesome that, you guys, carry that call to action, and it's like, and it sees through within all of your projects. So then, who are your clients then? Do you guys cater to certain industries? Do you focus on a certain sector, or do you cater to all industries?
Oh, wow. Yeah. We do cater to most industries. It's crazy. We have very small clients that are just starting out, come with an idea and a, no logo, nothing to get them started. And we work with them through the entire process of, and those, that audience is super, those clients are super involved. CEO, there every day, just cares about every detail. Obviously, this is their baby. But we also work with, multi-billion-dollar organizations that are a lot of equity in market, have been around for a very long time, and have a deep well of expertise that serves them. From our sweet spot, we're really, like I said, brand and demand. So our sweet spot is really around that brand space and brand strategy and activating that. But we have upstream capabilities that range from optimization to customer experience to do data visualization. Everything that you can think of in that upstream space. And downstream, we do a lot of integrated campaigns, a lot of experience design, media planning, execution. Basically, how do you activate your brand? We can pretty much execute in that regard in any of those spaces. So we aren't as deeply seated in the digital space as we used to be, but we do still have we have experts in house, but we would outsource or partner with another shop to really get a lot of our clients' goals accomplished.
That's fantastic. I love how you gave me the overview as well. So how do your clients find you? Is it through word of mouth? Is it through referrals? Is it through digital marketing? What is your top client acquisition channel then?
We've been really lucky. Fort West is close to 10 years old. I've been there for half the time the company. When I came in, it was like 12 or 13 people, and now we're over 30. But we've been really lucky to have a lot of experts and just great minds at the company that people seek out, referrals from over the last 20 years of our friends or our talents' careers. They've just come to us like, hey, I worked with you on this at this point. And we've landed very big and long-lasting clients in that regard. And it's only been over the last couple of years that we've really dove into growth initiatives. It's crazy. Like, we didn't even have a website beyond like a landing page for years and years. And we finally were like, well, we might as well invest in ourselves. and so we really, started leaning into social media and outreach and our, digital experience. And that's evolving now. Our director of growth, or our managing director of growth, Becca, has been, very hard at work in her new role, trying to kind of build out our growth practice.
Super cool. So now you brought up the website, and we're going to switch gears. So what would you say are the major strengths of the Ford West website? And then also, where would you think, down the line where there could be, areas of improvement for the website?
Sure. Yeah. I think the website is a great representation of who we are and the way we think. And it's unique. I mean, if you take a look at it, the design is really, I like to use this word, but ownable for the agency space, where I think we have an opportunity to really flex and lean in is really getting our thinking. We, obviously have a lot of output, and that's the shiny bells and whistles and the creative on the end, but really leaning into our case studies and how did we get there, and really showing the thinking and the strategy behind how, we came to these conclusions and how we came to these solutions. We lean into it slightly, but it could definitely have a lot more depth. And then as far as lead generation, I am an AI evangelist of sorts. I like I said, I cut my teeth in the digital space for the first part of my career and have always kind of had an affinity in that regard. And so I really think we have an opportunity to, create some sort of AI, GPT, IP trained chatbot that could help to garner leads.
Awesome. I love, where your company is going, and then, the plan with the case studies. I think that's a powerful attribute with agencies. The more case studies you have and being able to show what how you work with your clients, your relationship, and, how you're able to bring them from, point A to point B, it gives users an insight as to how the agency works, and being able to show, we really value not only our clients, but they're our family. We want them to succeed, and whether that's for their brand strategy, creative. So I think that's a really great opportunity where you guys are leaning into in the future.
Yeah, I agree. Also just the thought leadership space as well. We have such great minds on our team, and the problem is that we're in high demand, like we spend 90% of our energy on our clients' work. And so it's really difficult to carve out the white space and the time to, get that unique that thought leadership out into the market. We're not big enough. We're not a big enough shop to, be able to really carve out that time for our talent. And I definitely think that's a gap, because we have some great things to say. We just don't have the time to say it, which is a blessing and a curse, Yeah,
absolutely. Blessing and a curse. So now we're going to shift gears, and we're going to talk about you as a leader. So what does an average day look like for you?
It looks busy. I look at my role like my job is not to make decisions. It's to empower people. I want to be able, for my clients and for the team, strategy only works if someone can activate off of it, if it's actionable, if it's usable on the other side. You can uncover a million different insights and create some, crazy complex go-to-market strategy or campaign strategy or brand strategy that is trash because it can't be used. And so my days are really trying to understand we can use UX terms, the end user of this strategy, and how can I best create something that is going to, help them win. And if you do that on a micro scale with your creative team, with your, direct reports, with your clients, it adds up to something bigger, and it creates an organism that can, work together to create something really meaningful. So my days are spent doing that, and lots of meetings, lots of deep work, and yeah, I really enjoy it. I really enjoy what I do. We laugh a lot. We have a really good humor within our culture at the company. So my days are spent in meetings, laughing, telling jokes, and doing a lot of research and strategy.
But that's awesome where you've got, the perfect balance of where, okay, putting my head down, doing what I have to do, but then also, still having that human element where it's like, still being able to take a breather, talk with your colleagues and your coworkers. But I also really love how, within your role as a brand director, there is a lot that goes behind the scenes. A lot of people that don't know either. A brand director pretty much is, the person that carries not only the company or is a part of the team that carries the company, but also with the clients as well, in terms of, being the middleman with creative most strategy for all.
It is it's an interesting place to play. You are a translator a lot of times. That's actually a really good word for it. You translate the client's needs and market trends and consumer needs and to something that the creative team can understand and be inspired by, and then you translate that back to the client while you are trying to get buy-in and sell that in. And our creative team is just incredible. The work that they create is absolutely remarkable, and for a small shop, like, we are doing things that I've just never seen it out of a shop our size. So I am super proud and honored to be able to kind of, create things that inspire them to, make meaningful change. It's really cool. Honestly, I'm lucky to have the job that I do. But yeah, a translator, definitely.
I love it. That's perfect. Now, we're coming to the end of our interview, and I'm going to send you some rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Sure.
Cool. What is the last book that you read?
Ask Your Developer.
I haven't heard of that book. Are you still reading it, or did you already finish the book?
It's Jeff Lawson, so I actually have it right here. So Ask Your Developer is the CEO of Twilo. So do you know who that is?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So he wrote this book because it unlocks, if you can learn how to speak to your developers, development teams, translating that space, they're capable of building a world that is incredibly powerful and efficient for you. And they just speak a different language, or they're dictated to rather than collaborated with. And I think that it is a large gap in our kind of culture and in our agency culture, and also in business culture. And, it's a really great book. I definitely recommend it.
I'm going to check it out. That sounds like a really good book. And especially with, how you're saying for what marketers and agencies are facing within this gap of wanting to communicate better with working with developers. I agree with you. Now, what is one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you could go back to your first day at Fort West?
Wow, that's an interesting question. One piece of advice I would give myself: slow down to speed up. I came in very hungry. That's just kind of who I am, and I think that it's my job to listen. And oftentimes when I first started out, I think I was so excited that I didn't remember that, and that I was, not listening as much as I should. I was lucky enough to have, some mentors that helped me course correct really early on at the company, and noticed that, hey, I listen really well in certain areas and not in others. And I realized it was just my excitement. So it's funny how team dynamics are, can make or break an output. And I wouldn't say I lacked self-awareness, but I just had a gap there. So if I would have just slowed down for the first 2 months, I think that I would have got a lot further in the mind share and in the buy-in and in the team dynamic. And it just took me a little bit longer because of that. But man, that was 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago. It's hard to bring that back into my mind, but I do think it's really important in organizations as a whole, as now I've led other, and mentored and led other talent into that space. It is very, very important to be an active listener. Everybody, agencies and organizations come in with their own point of view. It's super strong, and also their own prerogative, their own objectives. And it is sometimes very, very difficult to get a word in, and so I think it's a good lesson, not just for me, but for everyone, to slow down and really listen. Don't listen for what you want to hear, but listen to what people are saying, because, sometimes there's ideas and nuggets of gold in the quietest person in the room, and you just need to give them a chance. So
yeah, I'm just going to give them a chance. I love that. So we're at the end of our interview now, and I want to thank you so much for joining us on Pathmark Presents, but I also want to give you the last word. If someone were to forget about everything we've talked about in your interview today, what is the one thing you want them to remember about Fort West overall?
So Fort West is a place that you can come where you're going to get a small shop where people really care about your success. We are experts at what we do, and we're going to give you the unbiased truth and really help you grow in a way that will, crystallize your right to win and where you want to go. And we're wholly different in that regard in our approach. And yeah, come on through, give us a call. We'd love to meet you.
Awesome. Thank you so much again. And for all of our listeners out there, check us out next week on Pathmark Presents.